Welcome back.
Hi. This is Two Wives and Their Dog.
My name's Grace. I'm the anxious wife.
I'm Amanda.
This is the emotional support wife. Please introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, I'm the emotional support wife.
And this is our secondhand dog, Sherman.
Woohoo! Say hi, Sherm. He's rocking a fabulous bandana today.
A Mickey Mouse bandana.
Mickey Mouse. Okay, I'll leave you alone now.
Today's topic, we're going to be talking about marriage and mental health. Specifically, my struggles with anxiety and depression. Yeah. Amanda also has some mental health issues that she can address in her own blog post, but this one's mine, so.
Yeah, you can find Grace's post on marriage and mental health on breadsandfamily.com. It was one of our first posts, so it'll be down on the list, but Grace was just going to talk about it, and obviously I will talk as well. But
yeah. Well, I wanted to start off talking about the fact that I have had anxiety and depression for as long as I can remember. Mm-hmm. I wasn't officially diagnosed until I was 18. And I had a pretty serious attempt in college. I guess we should preface this by saying we are going to try to just expect trigger warnings. Yeah. Because this is going to be very serious. I had a very serious attempt in college, and I don't really want to say institutionalized, but I was taken to the hospital because I wasn't of the Asian majority in Nebraska. My dad came and got me because he did not want me to be in that hospital. Mm. Mental health issues run through my family. And so my father had actually been institutionalized there and was like, that's not happening. You're not staying there. So I do think that, being open and honest about it is the best way to deal with it in any relationship. I have had partners who told me that being on medication was the worst thing I could do, because if I went on medication for anxiety, then I wouldn't care about anything. The house could be burning down and I wouldn't care. I've also had people who thought that having anxiety and depression somehow made me deeper or made me feel things better, which is such
an odd way to look at it.
An odd take. I mean, I knew that there were people out there, like the Manic Pixie Dream Girl shit. Like, I knew that there were people out there who romanticize their, like, mental illnesses, but I didn't expect to be in a relationship with one. And it's really hard to be in a relationship with someone who either wants to ignore your problem and wants it to just go away, or someone who finds it in their best interest to keep you in the worst place possible because they find it attractive.
Gross.
Yeah. I do think that as gay people, we tend to struggle more on average with mental health issues. So there is actually a really insidious undercurrent of that on some dating apps and websites. Fortunately, Amanda doesn't fall into any of those categories. When we first started talking, I was having pretty serious issues with panic attacks, and depression. I had lost the job that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life at.
Yeah.
And I was finding a new career path, and I was alone in a state where I knew nobody except my coworkers. And it was really hard. But Amanda being on my side really encouraged me to get the help that I needed. I don't ever want to say that Amanda fixed me, because I did a lot of work myself. But I also don't want to discount her contributions, because if you hadn't been there to be like, medication might be a great idea.
Just think about it. Just throw that out there.
Maybe if you talk to the doctor, you'll change your mind.
Just floating this idea.
I don't think that I would have taken the step to get on medication. had I not had someone in my corner who was actively encouraging me to make the best choices for myself. And as frustrating as I would find it sometimes, that Amanda wouldn't just be like, yeah, I really want you to be on medication, because Amanda's go-to phrase is, whatever works best for you. You have to do what's right for you, which is really annoying when you just want someone to tell you what to do. It is good that she didn't just tell me what to do, because that could have led to a lot of resentment. So we do have a lot of communication tips and tricks that have worked really well for us. Mm-hmm. One of the big ones, I think, is, do you want to talk about it? Amanda's really good at, like, do you want to talk about it, or do you just need to, like, be left alone? Because
I don't know that I'm really good at it. I've gotten better. I am a fixer, and so I just want to fix the problem.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, that's not really necessarily what you want to have happen right now.
Yeah.
So I have actively worked on it and be like, okay, this might just be a venting thing that this is not a problem I have to fix right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Or even little things like, actually, because she loves food so much, one of my favorite things that she does is when we're going to like a new festival or a new restaurant, we always look at the menu beforehand. Little stuff like that just makes my anxiety so much better, because Amanda will pull up the recipe and she'll point out good things. She'll be like, oh, this sounds like something you would like. Or she'll be like, oh, do you want to look at the menu before we go? Like,
and I never would have thought that was an anxious thing. That's just an anticipation thing for me. I'm like, ooh.
I just don't like surprises. I don't think it was something that you did that you were like, oh, this will help my wife's anxiety. It's just something that happened to help my anxiety that you already did.
That is funny.
Because you're more of a planner than I am. That's why I like going to the airport with you, because I mean, I came from an extremely landlocked state, grew up very poor. I didn't fly for the first time until I was in college. I still have a lot of anxiety surrounding airports and flying and stuff like that.
I do not.
And
I love it.
Amanda's like, okay, we're going to go here. We're going to be here at this time. We'll have enough time to get coffee. We're going to sit by the gate. We're going to people watch. We're going to do this. Our flight's going to touch down here. We'll have an hour. I'm going to show you some of the sights out the window. If we go this way, we can see these mountains.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think that people expect you to be the planner.
No.
My
own family probably is.
And there are a lot of instances in which you're not.
Yeah.
But traveling with you, I'm like, oh, thank God. Like, all I know is I have to show up and have a bag packed. That's it.
And I am the person that is like, oh my God, I have to pack a bag.
Yeah.
Oh my. When we were going back to Canada for my graduation, I do believe Grace had set out a bag like the week before.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was my graduation. I probably should have been a little bit more prepared.
Yeah, I do it that way so that, like, as stuff comes out of the laundry that I know I'm not going to wear before then, I can put it in the bag and be ready to go.
I am looking at the laundry going, oh, I should probably do that the night before, if not that morning.
But I'm also the if you're not 40 minutes early, you're late type of anxiety.
I mean, that's not anxiety for me. That's just straight up being
military.
Well, not even military, but musician and theater. You very much, if you're not there early to warm up or practice or make sure that you have everything set, then it's just gonna be a shit show. But
we're getting a little off track.
I'm sorry. Go back.
We're getting a little off track on the marriage and mental health.
Story of my life.
The other big thing was that together we were able to find 26 Health here in Orlando that takes LGBTQ plus clients. Mm-hmm. So I was able to get therapy on a sliding scale. And medication is a great help, but therapy is the best. So much so that my therapist has become the third person in our relationship sometimes, where Amanda will be like, oh, what do you think Steven would say about that? Like if she catches me saying something mean about myself.
Yeah.
Or, wow, babe, you did a great job. Steven's going to be so proud of you. So.
We stand Steven in the Burroughs Edson house.
Yeah. So, and it's gotten to the point where if I get overwhelmed with something, I'm like, I need to talk to Steven.
And I think it's important for spouses or partners or whatever stage you are in that relationship to not hold any resentment or jealousy of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Steven. Big fan.
Yeah.
Big fan. And so I can see how it would be easy to fall into that trap of, oh, well, you know, she's going to somebody else to talk to and she's not coming to me with those issues. But I'm like, you know what? Sometimes you need that impartial third party to just, I mean, I'm actively involved in your life every day, so I have a biased opinion.
Very actively involved.
So,
I was trying to see.
Sorry, our camera is attached to the laptop, which is sitting on top of a caboodle, which is sitting on top of a rolling table right now. We have a very professional setup, so.
Oh, that's the thing that I wanted to say. I think that the most important part of wanting to improve my mental health is that for the longest time, I mean, I was single alone in Orlando for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Almost off and on. And all I was doing to help my mental health was running. Which was great because it was like actually running away from my problems, but I didn't go anywhere. But it was like anytime I got like those icky feelings, I was like, okay, time to go for a run. And I was this big around as a result. But I didn't have any goals for the future, really. Like, it was the first time in a long time that I knew I wanted to have a future, but I didn't know what I wanted it to look like. And then when I met Amanda, I knew what I wanted my future to look like because I wanted a future with her.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that I wanted to fix myself for you, but I wanted to be a whole person so that our future together would be better.
I appreciate that. That's a valid goal.
Yeah.
First of all.
I've spent a lot of time talking about, like, how do you come into a marriage with all of this? How do you come into a family with all of this? You know, how am I going to be a parent? How am I going to be a wife? Things like that, because they aren't issues that I had to address until I was in a relationship.
Yeah. And I think it's ever changing. Not to put you on the spot, but I mean, this past week revealed things that you hadn't even thought of, that I hadn't even thought of. Like, and I think that's also another important thing about being a spouse or a partner, is not assuming how someone would react.
Yeah. Because
you genuinely don't know, and it's things that you yourself would not think of.
Yeah, you didn't go into why this week.
Oh, sorry.
So, this week, Amanda's siblings came down with their kids. Mm-hmm. We all went to Disney World together.
And pause, I am 13 years older than Grace, so all my siblings are older than Grace. I'm the oldest of 4.
Yeah. I'm just going to turn 30 this year. Amanda is 42. Mm-hmm. Going on 43.
Yeah.
So all of her siblings are older than me. And one of the things I was not prepared for, like, I've met all the kids know me. Mm-hmm. I wasn't really prepared to be Aunt Grace.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I had addressed with Steven. I know how to be around kids.
Yeah.
I know how, I've been a children's librarian. I'm the oldest of 5 children. I know how to be around kids. I was comfortable in that role. I was not prepared to have 4 older siblings giving me life advice and genuinely caring about the direction my life was headed.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is, it's just, I mean, it's overwhelming. I felt silly because I felt like I was crying because I actually had people caring about me, but it was just the oddest feeling that, like, I didn't just marry Amanda, I married her entire family.
For better or for worse.
And she has said that. It's not like she didn't prepare me. I didn't prepare myself.
Yeah.
So I was just getting life lessons from her brother-in-law about how to ask for a raise and things like that. And these are things that, you know, for better or for worse, my parents haven't dealt with. You know, my dad, blue-collar worker, my mom's a teacher. You get your salary increased on a scale year to year. But I mean, it's something my family isn't familiar with. And so people in her family being like, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and this is how you should get a home loan, and this is how you do all sorts of adult things. I was like, what is happening? Why do you care? I don't even live near you. But all of my anxieties about not being part of the family just disappeared.
And I think it was interesting because the notion that they are trying to rule your... And, I mean, obviously, my siblings, I'm used to them. I have been, just this nomadic, no career kind of person my entire life. So I'm used to the kind of, what could be seen as judgment from them. But I think the notion that it's not disappointment and dealing with, they are, saying, I need to guide your life. You need to be, I'm going to get you a financial advisor. You should have sold this car. Which I want to punch my brother-in-law on a regular basis. But, I mean, he's correct. They come from very successful things. And so it's not a judgment on your life, our life, that kind of thing.
It's that they genuinely care enough that they want us to have good things too.
Yes.
They aren't lording the good things in their life over us. They're like, if you do this, we can all succeed together.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for that. The other relationships I've been in, I mean, I spent 3 years in a relationship with a girl who was in the closet, whose family had no idea we were together, and were constantly annoyed that I was barging in on family events.
Yeah.
And now I get messages from Amanda's family asking when we're coming to family events. And I'm like, is this a trick? Do they actually want me there? Or are you just trying to find out if Amanda's going to be there? But apparently I am actually invited. And they actually do want me there.
They do.
Shock.
Yeah. They do indeed.
Yeah. This week went a long way towards curing any anxieties I had about becoming part of a family and introduce some new ones. But that's why I have a therapist. So
yeah,
I realized that people care, so now I have a new crop of people to disappoint potentially.
Oh my lord!
So that was new. But overall, I would say that if you're struggling with mental health, the most important thing in a partner is finding someone who supports you. And really encourages you to do better, but doesn't boss you around to do it. It wouldn't work anyway.
No. Grace is the boss. And I think just being a partner who is with someone with mental health issues, and obviously, I've been diagnosed with ADD for 30-something years. I have MS. My brain is not the best. So, I mean, it's also a give and take of being like, okay, your mental health is different than my mental health.
Yeah.
And recognizing that, and we don't both have the same reactions to things.
Yeah, and it is interesting. Obviously, it's not always successful. There are times when I am just at sensory overload and everything has overwhelmed me all day, and all Amanda wants to do is dissect her day. And I'm like, if you say one more word in this small vehicle, I'm going to scream.
Yeah.
I physically cannot take it. So there are times when you have to strike a balance, and there are times when we just get in a knockdown, drag-out fight over whether or not we're allowed to talk about something at a certain point. So
yeah. I'm a talker. That is for sure.
I'm a stewer, so I have to stew on it for a while. And then 3 hours later, I'm going to be like, okay, we have to talk about what happened. So this really bothered me, and I've been thinking about it for a while, and here's why it bothered me.
Yeah.
I also spent a long time in a relationship where I was told that, well, not even just in a relationship. I mean, growing up, it was, if you cry, your argument is invalid.
Oh. Mm-mm.
If you show any sort of emotion, then you don't actually feel that way, you're just being emotional. So I have had to unlearn a little bit of that, because Amanda and I have had some very tearful discussions, and neither of our points were invalid just because we were crying.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's important that, like, it wasn't you just meeting me in my mental health thing, I also had to work on myself.
Yeah.
I also had to not just snap at you, even though it still sometimes happens because I'm not a perfect person. I needed to say, I'm going to snap and here's why.
Yeah.
Or I had to say, I need you to give me some space because I just need space. And even if it makes you sad, I still have to say it because,
yeah,
you know.
And
so,
it does make me sad. I mean, and that's valid.
Yeah. But it's, you're valid.
First of all, you're valid.
Yeah. But I think the important thing is, I mean, one, recognizing that I have a problem, obviously the biggest thing. And two, communicating, not just like shutting down when I'm feeling depressed or anxious, but letting you know. And three, not using it as an excuse. You know, I know that there are people who use their mental illnesses as an excuse for their bad behavior. And I know that I can behave badly when I'm depressed or anxious, and I can snap and I can be mean, and that doesn't mean that you being hurt isn't valid.
Yeah. But I think you are very good at being like, I am sorry. I apologize. This is just where I am right now. And I sometimes have to remind myself, you know, she's not snapping at me because I'm a talkative person.
Yeah.
She herself is not in a place to talk right now. So,
yeah,
that just needs to be.
Yeah, it's meeting halfway.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not halfway. Sometimes it's 70-30, 60-40.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. Well, or what is it that someone said that, like, marriage isn't 50-50, it's 100% and 100%. Like, if you're not both putting in equal effort, it's not going to work. But some days, because of our varying conditions, we can't put in 100%. So sometimes you just have to make up for the difference.
True.
Sometimes I just have to make up for the difference.
Yeah. Some days I will have a bad MS day in which I just, if I'm taking a nap, that's a surefire sign that my brain is not happy that day. And so Grace will have to pick up the slack on that one. But
yeah.
So. But yeah.
Yeah. But it wouldn't work if I didn't have a supportive partner.
Same.
I think that I would be okay as a single person, but I think that the difference between being in a supportive relationship and not is that I went from surviving my life to thriving and enjoying my life.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the important distinction. I'd also just like to have a brief meander to say that I do not agree with the RuPaulism. If you don't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else? I didn't love myself very much until I loved Amanda, and I saw how much Amanda loved me. And then I started to love myself because someone was telling me the things about me that were lovable and made me want to work on them. And then I started believing it. So if anyone thinks like that they don't deserve love because they don't love themselves, absolutely incorrect.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with RuPaul on a lot of things, but that statement and fracking, I'm probably going to have to completely disagree.
Sashay away.
Exactly. But I agree. I think that's a very good point that, you know, we do very often hear people say, you know, you have to love yourself before, you know, anyone else. Love yourself. And some people just don't.
Yeah.
Some people don't even like themselves.
No. I mean, I dated people who told me they love themselves so much that they wish they had, like, an identical twin. And I just thought it was so funny. And this is dark humor moment, trigger warning, that and it wasn't just one person. There were a few people who said that exact statement to me. And I just thought, how completely opposite could two people be? That one person in the relationship is like, I wish there was a second me. And I was like, I want to unalive myself. I don't even want there to be a me. Like, that, there is not a more opposite view of yourself than that.
No, I don't think so.
And they are both equally toxic.
True. I am one of those people that thinks very highly of myself. As my mother says, you know, what did she say? You're living in your own world, king of your. Wow, I mimic what she says all the time, and I cannot remember what the phrase is. But basically, it's, you know, I'm the best at everything in my own world, and I always say, no, if you could just convince people to think like me. But at the same time, that's a lot of hubris, and my own, you know, core feelings aren't really that. I'm like, okay, you know,
Yeah.
obviously talk down about myself. Oh, which is, you know, my sisters were getting on me this week.
Oh. You have to make your own mental health post, lady.
Oh,
This
sorry.
one's mine.
I'm sorry. You're right.
You can make your MS and ADD post. This one's my anxiety and depression one.
It's going to be called The Colander.
Yes.
Adventures of.
Yeah, we call Amanda's brain the colander because the big pieces of information will stay in, but some of the littler ones will flow out.
True.
And sometimes it's not even the little ones that flow out. Sometimes it's the big ones.
I mean, colanders come in all shapes and sizes.
But thanks for watching.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you are having any unalive thoughts, please get help.
Please do. We will include numbers in the show notes and on the blog post.
Can't say enough nice things about 26 Health here in Orlando. If you are LGBTQ+ and are looking for medical help or mental health resources, they also have their own pharmacy. It is a great resource, and there are many resources like it in the area. I would not have been able to be at this point in my life without them.
I agree. I agree that, yeah, they're a great thing. Not that you wouldn't have been at this place. She wouldn't have done anything without them. But I do think they are a great resource, and they do work with you in the sliding scale and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of outreach here in the Orlando area.
Yes.
So we'll link them down below as well.
That's all I had.
All right. Be sure to check out our blog, breadsandfamily.com. And we also have a page on there for our podcast. We also have a Facebook group. If you want to come talk about your feelings or just, you know, Disney.
We have a Patreon.
We do.
You can buy us a coffee.
Yes. Links all on our site.
Instagram.
Yeah. That features a lot of this guy. He's not so much for YouTube. He excels at Instagram.
He is an Instagram dog.
He is.
That's all I had.
Well, yeah. Thank you. We'll see you later.
Bye.